Station like the playground. Freestyling, Jay spin and make them say wow. Then I beat the brakes off until I'm stay down. Became a king from a common man, and I turned my worst critics to my staunchest fans and worked at it until the world was believing. They gave them no choice but to see it. They say the greats always aim high and still stay grounded at the same time. And so they see a sky native with a hang time. That's why ain't no one can see us when it's game time. They say the greats always aim high and still stay grounded at the same time. And so they see a sky native with a hang time. That's why ain't no one can see us when it's game time.
Right now. It's fine.
Oh, hello everybody. We're here now. Yes, we're live now. That's it. Sorry guys, I was going to cut you in, but you asked me to do something last minute with the overlay, so... Hello!
What is going on, guys?
Hello.
This is the Rocket Powered Report, October 10th edition. It is 8:30 at night Eastern. It's way too late in the morning.
No, it's really early in the morning for me. It's only 1:30.
Fair enough.
we've had an hour and 30 minutes in the morning.
The only person that it's early in the morning for right now, Curtis, is... Let's see. I'm trying to think.
I was going to say OCE, but
China right now is 8:30 a.m., so does that matter?
Oh, so in that case, it's an Animate J's casting schedule. It's really early in the morning right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. That's exactly right, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, yes. So I'm
Either way.
Echo. Yeah, well, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Silent Echo. Hello, I'm the British guy. Curtis is below me, as always. Hey. And Sophona Day is over on my... this side, I think.
Hello?
That
You're
side,
talking about me.
way?
How does that work?
Yeah, it's weird. But anyway, so we're here. This is a Rocket Powered Report. We're going to talk about some Rocket League stuff. We're going to talk about a new update. Somebody said that we had an announcement of some kind. Is that correct?
Announcement?
I believe there was one.
Wait, there's an announcement? No one told me about this.
Right.
No, but that's because nobody tells you anything.
That's fair. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, guys. There's been an effort. Myself, Josher, who's from SPL, and Alstato from House Party have been spearheading an effort to make an event for the Rocket League community. Basically, it is a multi-regional, and it's an event that spans over 3 time zones, which is pretty impressive to say the least.
I thought you were going to say the name sooner than this. I've already changed the overlay.
And it is indeed, yeah, as you see on the screen, it is called Rocket League XL. It is Rocket League. It is a tournament day. It's a tournament stream that is benefiting the Extra Life campaign. For those of you that don't know what that is, the Extra Life campaign has been something that Twitch has been in partnership with for a couple of years now. It helps benefit the silent. What did you do?
What did I do?
Oh, your webcam is showing something different.
Oh, is that
okay? Either way,
yeah, don't worry.
That's fine. Either way, the Extra Life it is a conjunction effort between Twitch and the Children's Miracle Network to raise money for youth cancer research, as well as helping get money to the hospitals that desperately need it. There's one in particular that's 10 minutes from me called Hurley Children's Hospital. It's right in the heart of the Flint water crisis, and ultimately the money for my particular case, so I have it linking going to there. We're setting up some things in the background as well, including as long as it can happen, a tour of the facility that I will be doing a video blog on and doing an edit on and posting, which is going to be good stuff. But either way, what we're looking at is as I mentioned, it spans 3 time zones. It's a 12-hour continuous stream.
Yeah.
It is on October 29th. And it with the regions North America, Europe, and Oceania. So Europeans and the Australians get in on it as well. Very, very excited about it, as well as the Americans. The starts at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time in the United States. That is the European region. Get done with theirs. Each region has 4 hours. Yep, 6 p.m. BST. The North Americans go on at 5 p.m. Eastern. And go till 9, and then Oceania goes on from 9 until 1 Eastern. Or I think they said it was from 1 to 5 in the afternoon their time. So that's it. With that said, it is open to everybody. We want everybody that wants to be involved in this, whether it's playing, contributing, things of that nature. We're trying to hit $10,000 for our first event. I think that's a very doable goal, and basically the big goal of this was to show that not only can we get out of your phone, sorry. The Rocket League community as a whole is much different from any other community in the esports industry, because no other community would get together like this for this kind of event. I'd very likely say this is the first of its kind. With that, I have to fact check on that, but either way, we're looking at a 12-hour continuous stream, which is fantastic. The biggest thing here, it's an open tournament. There's going to be different modes for each region, and the modes will be revealed between now and the 29th, as well as the rules. And basically what you can do is go to the Discord, which is going to be on the Twitter, which is at Rocket League XL. That's where you're going to find all the information, guys. And if you want to help contribute, go ahead and ping a staff member. We can see what you can do. And then as far as playing, we want everybody involved, from pro players to personalities to people who are just getting out in the Rocket League community, and even those that aren't necessarily good, like me. So there's that. So we definitely want your help to make this as successful as possible. And with that said, I think that covers everything I needed to on that.
Yeah, absolutely does. So I think that was an exhaustive announcement. So let's just really quick recap. It's Rocket League XL, RLXL. So use RLXL in our chat, ! RLXL. We'll give you a link to the Twitter. Follow the Twitter. You'll find out everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
See, we could have just done that. It would have been way quicker.
That's fair. That's fair. But I mean, getting it out there makes me happy. So cool.
Yeah. Just to reiterate it, obviously this is a pretty big thing. We didn't get little names to come inside. We didn't get the small streamer that does 5 viewers here, but that person can come in and help and contribute. Meanwhile, we have Curtis, who really just wants to check out his latest text messages from all the girls he's getting from his casting talents.
Okay, yeah, no, I just had to.
But
sorry.
To help out
Twitter.
He's like the really, really white version of Carpet.
Right. But yeah, like throw out some support. It's gonna be great. We hope that we can actually pull this one out and really just help out the community back, as a collective community together, and just give back to those who are less fortunate than us. So that's kind of one of the things that's always great about charity work like this. So make sure to do everything for it. I'm looking really forward to doing whatever I need to do to help out with it. Whether it would just simply be throwing a host over to just having a jolly good old time. And
that's a very British thing to say.
There may be a few small things that you can make us do as casters or something like that maybe we can.
There'll be stuff going on. So just follow the Twitter. We'll find out.
Just find out.
So, but before we have to rename the podcast, let's talk about some other stuff, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. We had some big stuff happen this last week or so.
Yeah. Can we start off by talking about Aquadome and how beautiful it is, as long as you're not moving and the ball isn't moving? Otherwise, I just throw up repeatedly.
Right.
Because there are some problems, and Dirk, I'm calling you out. Fix it, please. It's ridiculous. Like the number of double
in this case, it's Eric. Fix it.
Well, whoever. I mean, honestly, I don't care as long as that ball stops blurring and I can stop just playing Jules forever, because that's what I've been doing. I've just been playing Jules and forfeiting as soon as I get Aquadome. That's all I've done since Aquadome came out, because I just can't play on that map. So me and Joshua were doing doubles the other day. Literally, Aquadome starts. He's like, I can't handle this. I'm like, I can't either. We just vote to forfeit as soon as the timer's down for the first kickoff. That's it. On to the next one. So, yeah. Not great.
Nope. The map is beautiful.
Oh, I mean, it's gorgeous. And Galleon, they put Galleon in there as well. Did you guys see that?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It looks fantastic. We need to get it fixed.
Once again, though, why is it a standard map?
Yeah, we gonna touch on this again?
Yeah, well, I think we have to, because I was listening to DFH and catching up on a bit of there, and this was something that Gibbs and Doomsy was talking about as well. I don't think that this is an uncommon feeling, is that it could have so easily been a new non-standard map, either a reskin of a non-standard map that we already have, or just a totally new non-standard map. The fact that it's a standard map has just reduced down the chances of us getting Neo Tokyo and Wasteland again.
I think
we just got that chance back up.
I feel like I kind of wanted to see that develop. Like we talked about Silent. I kind of wish I saw more of a Wasteland aspect to it, where at least just the conditions were not as consistent on the grounding. Whether it be on the walls is not necessarily a big factor for me, but it'd been kind of cool to see that, because I mean, in reality, you're freaking under the sea. Is it really going to be perfect on the ground?
Well,
I
and
think it'd be cool to add some variety to it.
That's what I was just going to mention, is that if you make the floor look like the ocean floor and have the bumps, I think that would be really, really awesome. As long as the bumps are, readable to the point
hang
where
on.
they're
You
not
guys are talking about
incredibly
having
frustrating.
just random bumps on the floor.
Not random.
No.
It has to have some kind of rhythm to it.
Yeah, right, okay, because you guys are designing a whole new map, and if we're going to get into that, I have a document that I need to open. This is not the first time I've been down this rabbit hole, chaps.
we should actually look at getting doing a special on that.
I think we should do a special on that. Yeah, I think a modem map special needs to be done, so we'll put that in the calendar for something to do.
DM Rowling says no bumps. Yes, no bumps. No random bumps like that. They have to be readable. They have to bounce off the floor at a predictable angle, similar to how Wasteland would do it, which would be really very realistic for an ocean floor.
You know what? I do actually agree with DMR in the chat, who says just move the boost, and I agree with that entirely. Like, I actually think they should go back through every single iteration of a standard map that they have. So go and make the boost different on Utopia compared to DFH, and change the boost on Manfield compared to, Utopia, and just like have boost orbs at like the top corners of the walls and stuff like that. Just change it up a little bit. Can you imagine if the middle boosts were actually like on the ceiling?
I wouldn't say put them on the ceiling.
Maybe not on the sidewall, like up by the ceiling, so that it makes these really interesting rotations, and these it's a good idea to maybe hang around on the walls a little bit more, and we see some more aerial play because of it. It'd be really interesting. So
yeah, I definitely like that. I like the idea. Also, like Wasteland, make it slope inwards.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, if we move the boost pads into the center, maybe on the wall there, I think we see a whole lot more scoring.
You know what Octagon has made me realize?
What's that?
It's made me really want like an elongated version of that map. So it's thinner, either make that one thinner, but instead of having like the sidewalls, make it a hexagon. I really want one of those. I just think that'd be really interesting. Because it kind of funnels the ball in towards the goal, and you can get some interesting plays and stuff. It'll be good. But anyway, so Aquadome having some visual issues that hopefully they're going to fix, although some conversations that I've had with people from Psyonix has kind of implied that it was intentional to some degree. I don't know whether they expected it to be as dramatic as it is.
I would tend to think they're going to look at it pretty hard. Psyonix doesn't usually let complaints like that go unwarranted.
True.
I mean, it was different between when they put Wasteland out, everyone was complaining about it. They were complaining about it because it wasn't standard. In this one, they're complaining about it because it's literally making people sick.
To be fair, when Wasteland came out, the bounces were broken. The physics was broken on that map.
To fair enough.
Extent. So they had to fix bounces, and they had to fix performance with that map. I'm hearing a lot of performance complaints with Aquadome as well, which isn't unsurprising given that there's a freaking shark flying around above you. I say flying, swimming.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I was having Final Fantasy X
Swimming
flashbacks.
is just flying, technically. So let's just get
swimming and flying are the same thing, just a different medium.
Ask Buzz Lightyear. Flying is just falling with style. So what are we talking about here?
Right.
But we have the map right now. It's standard and just performance. It's weird to me that because I forget what exactly the reason is, but that the ball will just look like it's just coming in this weird wave to it. And you're like, wait, what? I don't really know how this map exactly, works, to be specific. I don't know if that's a way to explain that.
Let's not forget that the AFH is flying.
What?
Let's not apply real life physics to a map that has clearly been made by egg people.
I see what you did.
It's just, I just like the fact. I can't wait for. I saw Doomsy actually tweet out about Cosmic. Like, let's just get Cosmic with a space theme on it, please.
I'm down.
I mean, I don't even particularly like Cosmic, but the more non-standard maps, the better.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Is that I think ultimately we're going to see a non-standard map of not too long from now.
Yeah,
I think they're going to have the standard one, and then they're going to release one that's non-standard. I'd say in pretty rapid succession. I'd say within the next month and a half, we'll start hearing about it.
Yeah, you guys know about Stadium, right? The SARP map where the goals are forward of the walls, so it's like a hockey pitch.
Yeah,
I really want that. That would be so cool. But it slows down the game a lot, which is probably why they haven't done it already. New stuff that we've gotten as well. Cars. You guys tried the new cars?
I have not yet.
I
actually will say, now primarily the Triton I've tried, to be more specific.
Don't blame you. Because the Proteus is not a good looking car. I mean, it's like a Grog,
to me,
made love with a Roadhog.
the Proteus to me is just really funny. It's supposed to have the hitbox of an Octane, but then I look at it and I'm like, this thing just looks like as if the front pincher's just gonna be like, I'm gonna get you. That's all that I think of when I look at that. But
if I pay you $1, will you make that noise again?
Clack, 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 clack.
But in all honesty, like I really like the two cars that came in. I would actually like to use Triton. Triton to me is kind of fun just because how it's built. I feel like it's got a similar sense to, and it's almost kind of annoying that we always compared like the new cars to these two, but that's probably the best way I could think of it. It's kind of like the Dominus, but with a little bit of a quicker, what's a good way? A quicker air roll would be a good way to say it. Like that's what I've noticed personally. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I personally have noticed.
Fair enough. I didn't realize that cars air rolled at a different speed. I mean, they air roll at the same speed, but they're different widths. So that's
exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So it
takes longer for a semi to turn than a combat car.
Yeah. that not quite the analogy I meant, but sure.
Yeah. The Proteus guys. What have you guys messed with either of that or that at all?
No. I haven't tried either of the new cars because I've been poor until today, and then I haven't played Rocket League all that much today, so I hadn't remembered to buy them yet. I mean,
yep, that's fair.
You know me, Octane and Batmobile. Occasional breakout use. But,
yeah, I mean, I got the Breakout S, so now I'm starting to play with the Breakout S. Even though everybody's just telling me how terrible they hate the engine sound, which actually surprises me.
Oh, really? I haven't heard it, so because I've had
I'll
one
probably
crate
stream
3
later
drop.
tonight.
Right.
Right.
I've had a single Champions Crate 3 drop, and it's not on my main account, which means I have to install Rocket League on my housemate's computer and trade it to myself before I can open it.
I've had three total. Like yesterday was really lucky for me. I had like 4 crate drops in my. Okay, to be fair, I guess I did play for 7 hours. So maybe
3 crate drops in 7 hours is not a big crate drop rate.
I was like, I got 3 crate drops. Oh wait, that was within 7 hours of my stream.
Right. Silent.
Yeah, I mean, this was something that I actually put on the list to talk about today. Like, it seems like there's lower drops for crates, and also now that there's 3 kinds, getting a C3 is pretty much impossible.
Yeah,
Kronovi and Overzero actually had a conversation about this while they were streaming today that I just kind of conveniently came in at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So Kronovi was actually saying that there was possibly more crate drops that were coming in, and Overzero just interjected him immediately and said that no, they're the same rate. It's just there's another number into it, and then therefore you're not going to get the crate that you want because the odds of you even getting a crate are already out of it.
I honestly think that the crate drop has lowered though, because the number of crates that I've had total over the last week has not matched the number of hours that I've played compared to while we've had crates. And to some extent, I had seen people, saying that crate drops were a little too frequent and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know who was saying that, but people have been saying that. And I wonder whether Psyonix just wanted to tune it a little bit once the initial rush was over to make it more of a special thing. Because,
it could be.
I donated, I think, 10 crates to Shift last week. And I've got maybe 4 that I could give them this week.
Right, I've probably given a total of, and you can ask Josh, or I usually give them 4 or 5 at a time.
Yeah, but that's it. That's what
up until this week. Right. Yep.
So... I've given 1.
Proud of you.
That is it. and it was to Jasmine to see if she could get any luckier with something that I got, and it was still rare.
Well, you just wanted her to open the black market decal so she could give it to you afterwards. Like
I've opened 2 crates since Aquadome dropped. I've gotten 3 total C3 crates since Aquadome dropped, and I've given both of them to Shift. I've given 2 of them to Shift. I opened one myself. I was along with a C1 crate, and I am getting Dark Matter, the import rocket trail, and I got the photon wheels. So I was pretty happy with those. But
fair enough.
2 great drops, but say 3 in 7 days. And Silent, I was streaming actually quite a bit this last week, and playing.
I've been ill, dude. I haven't been paying attention to anything.
Well, we can say that this rate is completely different. I'm actually on DMR's side, who's talking about this, that we're just simply observing a variance. I just think, in all honesty, I think it's the same thing. I mean, earlier, how many people we had that said they played 30 hours and never got a crate? I was just saying yesterday, 7 hours, I got 4. It just depends. I mean, in all honesty, I think it's just
we know it's programmed for a probability scheme, but at the same time, it does feel very, very random. So they did a very good job with that, I think. Well, it's just not quite as frequent as I'd like it.
I still tend to disagree. I think they have tuned it slightly. I don't think we're ever going to find out for definite, but my feeling is that they've tuned it slightly, and I think that it'd be very smart for them to tune it slightly. After the introduction of crates in general, you want it to be just a little bit more frequent, and then you kind of tune it down as time goes on, so that when a crate drop is rarer, people, psychologically speaking, initially people just want to open crates, so they buy keys, and then they wait for crates to drop. Whereas crates are going to be what prompts you to buy keys going forward, which means that a crate needs to feel special. And special is something that doesn't happen very often. So I think that it would be a valid business case to be made for them to tune it down slightly, and the introduction of a new variety of crate is the best time to do it. So
that's a very fair point. Yeah. That's a good strategy.
Speaking of which, we've got a new kind of crate really quite quickly. That gives me hope for the crate system in general.
Well, adding more variance to it is always a great thing, because I mean, we got another import body which hyped everybody. Breakout S, but then everybody was disappointed that there was an Octane one, or there was no Octane one. I'm sorry. I think it was really cool that came out to it. I really wanted to see a little bit of extra additions to it, and eventually, as time gets, I'm sure there'll probably be. I'm gonna assume by the end of the year we'll probably get maybe 2 more kinds of crates, possibly.
By the end of the year? Interesting. I would have said we were going to get one more kind of crate, and then maybe have one.
I was just going to say, let me retract that, because I'm looking at it and I'm being dumb, because I'm still thinking September. If it was 3 months, I would have said 2. Being that it's October 10th, I'm gonna go back and say 1. I'm gonna say by the time we get into the end of January, potentially, maybe even mid-February, I think we'll sit at another one. So we'll sit at 2. By the time
maybe.
So do you think this is too soon, or do you think this is about right? Because I feel like it's about right.
Yeah, I think we're going at a good rate right now. I think that's smart. Maybe not necessarily push that Octane one yet, because I have this feeling that people are just going to keep, as soon as the Octane comes in, it's like, oh, well, then what are we going to do now? Oh, an import body for the hot shot? Wow.
Yeah, I think that it was a good idea to start with the Dominus, because the Dominus is a very iconic, but also quite easy to keep the same feel of it. I wonder whether, to some extent, what you're saying about the Octane is probably correct, but then I think it also comes into it, the Octane is just so iconic for the game. So iconic for the game. It launched with the game, which the Dominus didn't. The Dominus is an introduction, was introduced to the game in is it the second DLC?
First, I think.
It might be the first, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that is the first that it came out for, because, let's see. But there wasn't anything that came in before that. Yeah, that's
the Octane is the first car you start with. I mean, it's iconic to the game. It was a car that was in SARP. I think that all of these are reasons for them to stay away from changing. Yeah, I mean, DMR saying, just slow roll. I think that I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it is the last import car that we see.
I don't know if this was I didn't know if you guys knew, and maybe I can share this with our audience, but that the person that actually designed the Octane doesn't work for Psionic Studios anymore.
I did hear that.
I didn't know that. So that's probably a confliction that's going on, because I'm sure the guy who lead designed it might have a confliction with it. I'm not sure if that has
I don't see how he would.
But especially because I'm hearing like I know Art, I think I said this before, but a lot of times when they go through like designs of a new car, they kind of like start out with the Octane design, and then they kind of redesign it based off of that. That's what's
well, the
I think
Octane's the most
this was
popular
Art telling me
car.
this.
So the thing about the Octane though is that it fits the hitbox really, really well. Like the model actually physically fits the hitbox really well. So you can't have the Octane hitbox and something else that looks different to the Octane, because then it doesn't match the hitbox as well. So like I can totally see them starting out with the Octane and then just varying off that until they sort of eventually find another magic formula that people kind of latch onto, which to some extent I thought they'd got with the Marauder, and then people stopped using the Marauder, which was a shame because I actually quite like the Marauder. I just don't like to use it because you can't tell which way around it is when you're freestyling.
Marauder was just a side note. Marauder was also another SARP car that they introduced back in. And I'm wondering if they're going to introduce any other ones, because
the aftershock.
If I remember right, there's like 4 other cars, I believe.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. The what as far as the C3 crates go, and as far as the crate drops in general, what I think we're gonna get is I think we'll get our 4th one before the end of the year. I think our 5th one will be before the start of RLCS Season 3 to get people back playing the game if they've stopped. Which, I mean, why would they stop? But
I doubt that. I reckon it'll be a January thing, and then we'll find out about RLCS Season 3 in like February or March.
Right.
I thought the qualifiers would be happening in February or March, because the LAN is December 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, I think that they'll leave it a little longer. Like if it was me scheduling that, I'd go for March, because that gives 2 clear months after the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I forgot the whole thing called Christmas.
You don't necessarily want to also rush it into it again, because there's not another. So, sorry, I'm kind of contradicting myself. How I just said that. I'm sorry. What I was saying before I did that was, I mean, if you have that 2-month period to go, at least you'll have something, so you're not rushing it right away. Because a lot of people, when this second season came along, they're like, "Whoa, this was really soon." So I feel like they're going to be a little bit longer on this next one here.
I think that the reason that like the thing is that they're going to people are going to be more used to staying in rosters now. And they're seeing teams like Reunited that have done so well with a fixed roster that it's going to make more sense to, and especially with contracts and stuff, with people getting sponsored and orgs entering the scene. Like by Christmas, I'll be very surprised if any of the 16 league teams haven't been signed by people.
Yeah, that's very fair.
And that's going to keep teams static, whereas pre-season 2, that wasn't a thing. So, from the point of view of Psyonix and RLCS wanting to, promote the esports scene for Rocket League as much as possible, you got to have those rosters locked in place, because otherwise, what are you a fan of?
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, it's I think that's going to be a thing. Inanimate J, I'm sorry you're having issues with the video feed. I'm not showing any drop frames on my end. I'm going at a solid 3666 KBS. So I don't know, man. I'm not even, I haven't got any games open.
Yeah.
I'm not. There isn't a live Hearthstone feed going.
Take that logo away real quick and see if that fixes it.
But the logo is part of the overlay image. It's exactly the same as we do normally.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
So yeah.
I didn't know.
Can't be that.
But yeah, when this new crate comes along, I actually kind of like what someone was saying in chat here. They were talking about
explosive crate.
No,
because it's gonna be C4.
God take it.
Why didn't I think of that before?
If this crate isn't CS:GO or Russian themed, I'm gonna be very upset.
Oh, rip.
Anyway, what they were talking about here was an import import paladin would be kind of interesting.
Do you know, paladin, I was thinking the hot shot. Now that they've changed the hotshot body, that lines it up perfectly to get an import
I was making
body.
A joke about that earlier. I don't think so, because they just redesigned the hotshot. I don't think it's going to be the next crate. I think it might be maybe the one afterward, but I would think they would.
Changing the hitbox seems like a good preliminary thing to do when they bring out an import body, because they did get a little bit of backlash for changing models when they introduced the import body for the Takumi and the X-Devil. Because both those models changed when those import bodies came out.
Right.
Which, there was a little bit of backlash from people who were like, oh, there's an import body for my favorite car, and I'm like one of 6 people in the entire world that actually drives the the X-Devil. And then it was like, oh, my hitbox has changed, and now it's just a Dominus. So sad face. Oh no.
I know.
But yeah, I think that there's I think that could be something that they consider going forward, and stagger those. So do like a model change at the update before the import comes out. But that's assuming that they do an import for every car. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't, but can you imagine what the import Scarab's going to look like? If it's not a bathysphere, that's what they should have done. They should have made the Scarab the second car for aquadome and had it.
I can't even stand looking at the regular Scarab. I don't even know if an import would make me feel any better.
Can I get
if it was an old school diving bell,
pod?
dude? Like an old school diving bell, the big circular things
Yeah,
that you
that's
get.
exactly what I think of it. And I'm like, this is dumb.
Just with wheels on it?
Please.
Could have had the little pincers still.
Oh gosh. Eventually, I wonder if down the road they're gonna make like themed import bodies, so that ends up becoming like a submarine or something.
Well, has anybody checked to make sure that
Aquadome.
Has anyone checked to make sure that if you use the plunger with the Proteus, it's not like one of the pincers just shoots out and grabs the ball?
Well done, sir. I like it.
That's okay. It's just like and we'll talk about that a little bit later about mid-season mayhem. It's like Wave when he freaked out when
the Batmobile thing. I was
plunger, which was basically a.
Yeah, I swear I was talking to Wave about that like weeks ago. I swear I was, but clearly it must have been somebody else.
It's
Maybe
Wave.
It was Carpet, but yeah.
I
He's
don't
so
know.
Texan.
Maybe Wave's just fume about anything that we say.
Nothing goes over Wave's head because he's ridiculously tall.
That's fair. That's fair. It might go to the side of him, and he might not.
Well, he is ridiculously thin, so that's possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it doesn't hit the belt buckle, it's going right past. So
That's awesome.
here we go then. So should we get into mid-season mayhem?
Something
we want to talk
before
about?
we do that, we should talk a little bit about, and this is something I just thought about now.
Starfish wheels?
No, we haven't talked at all about the now revealed location of LAN.
Oh, Lansterland.
Yes.
Lansterland.
Lamsterdam. Lansterdam.
No, it's Lansterland.
Lansterland?
Lansterland.
They pay their debts.
Lanterland. Lanterland confirmed.
Lansterland's
Continue
always
to add
paid
the
their
word
debts.
"lan" as many times as you can in this sentence.
Anyway, moving on. For those
Lanceland.
that did not hear, the LAN for Rocket League RLCS Season 2 is going to be in Amsterdam. These tickets are not on sale as of yet, but they are happening. So if you haven't gotten your passports yet and you plan on going, you should probably get on that.
I just hope that all the
Save your
events start
money.
at 4:30.
Also, for those that are going, I'm an uninvented flavor of jelly of you, just letting you know. Because I am not going because, well, money and adult responsibilities. But
you need to be responsible as an adult before you can leave the country? Is that
Oh,
Can
generally
someone
speaking,
do me
yeah.
a favor and FaceTime me when you're there, because I won't be either. There is this thing that's called being a college student.
I might
And I
Skype
think
you.
that
Is that
applies
fine?
to me.
Like, I could
That's
Skype
fair.
you. I'm not
Definitely.
using an
An
Apple
ad.
proprietary video messaging
I'm
platform.
calling it now. Let's do an RPR live from Amsterdam.
Okay, but that would only be me who's in Amsterdam.
The one person's going to be at Amsterdam and the rest of the other people are going to be in Michigan.
In some kind
This is
of
not
like,
live from Amsterdam. This is one person being live and hosting it from Amsterdam.
You
Do we have
just see me
Rawlings with the
cross-legged.
Lobster Lab confirmed?
No, you'll just see me cross-legged, like I've got
Lobster
like
Dam.
off Skype on my phone, and I'm
Yep.
using like Discord on my phone, and I'm cross-legged on like one of 32 beds in this god-awful hostel. Sounds about
You could be
right.
playing on a. Hey, you could be doing this on a bed, just like Kronovi's doing stuff right now. So
Yeah, just
Well, it
get
doesn't
back to
have its chair
just
yet.
get back into the venue the day after it all finishes, and just use one of the PCs to do
Has he
RPR.
not received his chair yet?
What's that?
I mean, that's
Has
not
he
an.
not? Oh, I was going to ask if he had received his chair yet.
Who,
I would
Kronovi?
assume he had received
Oh,
it.
I
he's still
assume
chilling
he
on his
has.
bed.
Oh, wow.
A little
That's rough.
little off subject though. We can stay.
Yeah, a
there.
little bit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that was
I
yeah.
need to ask that
What,
question.
dude? Seriously.
Sorry. No.
But
no,
Rick Lumbar.
So one thing that's really cool that I think that it's over in Amsterdam, and of course, this is right now in NA and EU. It's going to transition each season, I'm assuming, sort of thing. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you think this was the right location? I know there was a couple of rumors that potentially could have gone to places like London. I think someone said What did they?
Paris.
There's like 2 other locations.
Paris was the other place.
Yes,
No,
Paris
it
was
was
another one.
London, Amsterdam, and Paris, to the best of my knowledge.
Right.
But Amsterdam is central to pretty much all of Europe. So,
Not a bad way to go.
I mean, it takes
Not a bad way to go.
less time for me to fly to Amsterdam than it takes me to fly to my parents, and they live in the same country as me.
Interesting.
So
Weird, but
I
interesting.
know, but I don't have to, pay £100 to get a passport to go see them, whereas I do have to go to Amsterdam. But
Right. Well,
it's getting figured out apparently, so we'll see what happens.
here's my thought as far as the Amsterdam location. I like the location as it is for season 2. I would love to see it as a more if Certiday is correct and the location is alternating between countries basically, or between continents anyway.
Mhm.
Then I could very much see them doing something like a season 4 in London, where typically there's more people, there's more things happening, and it could be a much more popular event.
If by season 4 we've not got regional lands, then I don't know what's wrong with the world.
Okay.
By the point that season 4 comes along, I would really hope that someone else is stepping in to like create another huge.
Oh no,
championship.
guys,
That's what Sal's talking
reckon there's going to be a. Well, no, I mean regional lands for the RLCS. So instead of having the online finals,
right.
you have the regional land
Expansion,
The
basically.
land
Okay, I got
yeah,
you.
an expansion of the
Right.
whole thing. So you'd have
Right.
like the
There's
same
a
number of
there-
teams, but there's more event to it.
Right. It's almost like a touring sort of thing is one way I would consider it. There's going to be like one main event, which is like the true championship series, which is going to be the international finals and everything. And then there's going to be regionals where it's like, here's the NA championship series.
Well,
here's the EU championship series.
I reckon they just stick with the same format that they've got because they're taking 2 weekends to do playoffs anyway.
Right.
So the only difference if you do regional LAN is that you do an NA weekend and then you do an EU weekend and you just do it in 2 days instead of 2 weekends, which is actually better preparation for the actual LAN because you're going to have to play the same number of matches at LAN as you do at the playoffs anyway. But instead of having a week apart, like you've got them back to back. So it's actually better preparation. It makes more sense from like preparing the teams for.
And hey,
the
there's
finals.
more Rocket League on, so I'm definitely down for it.
No, because there'd be the same amount of Rocket League.
Oh. No, for that particular thing too. I'm talking more about like.
I think that other orgs are going to
as things
definitely
go.
move in. I mean, I hope so because I'm hoping to make a living from being a caster, and unless there's more people start paying casters, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there is that. There is that.
If we continue to grow in the rate that we do, esports companies can actually start throwing in a salary for their, salary may be too big. Actually just paying their casters in general.
Contracting their casters.
Right.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Patience, lads.
Yes.
I mean,
patience.
we're seeing,
Let's
the
have this
growth of it.
conversation in February.
Okay.
We'll have a much
I'm
better
down for
idea
that.
of what's going on in February, and at this point, it's
Yep.
just
Right.
rampant speculation. So
We need to keep something in mind though too. It's like this is still within the first year and a half of this game's even came out. Sometimes
like-
we get in these conversations, me personally, I get in these conversations with people and we're like, why don't we have this and this yet? It's like, because it's been a year and a half. You have to take things slow. If you force things in a market and you do too many new things, you're going to hit this writer's block and then people aren't going to be interested anymore. And then you got to try to redesign something. So be patient.
I mean, we can try and keep that in mind, but I'm not sure if you have the equipment, Svi. So,
God dang it.
moving on to the mid-season mayhem.
DM Rawlings says we only go to European Union countries.
European Union countries? What?
EU.
Breaking
Brexit.
news. Third region announced for RLCS. UK.
So I'm
Lumped in
assuming
with rest
that-
of the world, so the UK has to compete with OCE and East Asia.
While I'm thinking about it, do you guys want to have a separate conversation about, RLCS and incorporating other countries other than just simply, North America and, Europe inside
I think
of it
that's
as well?
something we come back to later on. It's
Okay.
too soon.
I was just going
As
to
things
make
expand, yes.
Yep.
I mean, realistically speaking, the populations just aren't big enough for it to be relevant to the conversation right now on those
Right.
servers.
And neither is the server architecture. To be fair, in some regions of the world, but we'll get into that at a later time.
Yeah, I think let's
So-
cover that another day.
Yeah.
Mid-season mayhem, guys.
It was mayhem.
I mean, I came into
It was nice to see
well, I
the
came into
casters
it with-
finally happy.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely like seeing the guys kick back and be a little bit more laid back and Wave had that wonderful sleeveless jacket on over the shirt, which I thought was just. It looked like he was at any second he was just going to pull a fishing rod out from under the desk and leg it offside.
Oh, God.
man.
It's a sight that
I mean,
want
the
to-
best part was
Please.
the carpet was going to be driving the boat for him. So
Rip my mind's eye.
Oh my god. This is the
Can you
worst
take it out a
image
little
I've
bit
ever
further,
thought of for
Captain Daddy?
anybody ever in the history of the world. What are you doing, Silent?
seriously, that's what it looked like. I mean,
I don't want you to keep going with this image because it's gonna get worse.
Well, yeah,
Already have
because-
Wade Punk sitting there in a sleeveless jacket with fishnet legs and the Captain Daddy over here driving the freaking speedboat.
Captain
Yeah.
Daddy.
But that's
Are
what
you
I'm saying,
He's
right?
on walk up the
It's
carpet
like-
and call it
Grief.
that.
You could just
What
hear
is
a
going
plaintive. You can just hear a plaintive Texan voice coming from the back of the boat saying, "I think the fish are biting more towards the middle, Captain Daddy. Could you take us out a little further?
Mhm.
I think we need to go
Alrighty.
deeper."
So we were just talking about before we did the show, by the way, that we were kid friendly. I'm sorry.
Silent is not
Like, this is-
kid-friendly.
I'm
I'm
blaming
sorry,
Silent.
but what isn't kid friendly about the word daddy?
We're not going there. We're not going there. Nope. Okay, so moving on.
Oh, man.
So-
Mayhem.
Yeah, G who?
G2 dominated
No,
with
No,
mutators.
we came into it G who, and we left thinking G2.
Yes.
Right.
My question to you, and wouldn't be doing the job if I didn't ask it, is this what G2 needed to get themselves off the shine?
Well, clearly what they needed is more than $500 a game.
Okay. That's fair.
Because they get 500, like the way league play is worded in the rules, they get $500 per match completed of league play. Now you can argue that they earned that money by qualifying for league play, but when you just like if you look at it without thinking that extra step further, it looks like you're getting $500 for each game that you play in league play, and that's clearly just not enough for the likes of Kronovi and Latch and Rocket Jesus. So
Well,
so instead they went with now there's actual money on the line. They went and won, was it $4,000 they won?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
$4
4
grand.
grand prize pool. Yep.
Not bad for messing
Between
around with a haymaker and
Right.
Kronovi putting on his little using one of those little cheap ROM cartridges that you used to get for an N64 and make sure he gets the plunger every time.
Those plug into USBs.
Did you guys see Morbo's tweet?
I would rather have seen Seismic White's Photoshop job, personally.
Oh no, the tweet that Morbo put out was fantastic, and I recommend you check this out. And it's a little un-PG, so I'm going to censor it. But don't be surprised that Kronovi can use the plunger, given how much he has to deal with every
Oh.
day. Which I
Okay.
thought was brilliant.
Okay. Okay.
So fill in the blanks yourselves on that one, but I
Yep,
thought
that
it was
works.
pretty good. As someone who's had a tweet battle with Morbo, I do know that the guy can be on point. So,
Yeah, he's been pretty awesome. Anyway,
So what else
Um,
do we want to talk about from Mid-Season Mayhem?
Well,
I mean,
one
anything
thing
else from
I
NA?
wanted to mention something real quickly about G2 because a couple people were like, "Well, how the heck were they completely different?" They pretty much bunkered like this.
Well, they
entire
actually
week. I don't know
had
if
time
anybody
to
knows.
practice. That helps.
Yeah,
I mean, how you practice for Supercube, I do not know, but clearly they did.
right.
I mean, I think you go into an exhibition match with your friend and get them to hit the ball while your eyes are closed, and then you open them and react as fast as you can, and that's basically the only way to play Supercube.
Right. No, I'm glad that they did as well as they did. I mean, not dropping a single game is hopefully a good momentum build for the next week. But we're playing regular next week. I'm going to see what happens. But they needed. They're still down right now. They need to start picking things up that they actually want to play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it was a very different scene in the NA scene, with G2 really making it look very, very easy. They didn't drop a single game all day, which
Yeah.
I'm impressed by. So
yeah, especially in an unpredictable situation like a place with mutators and Rumble, and it's kind of a lot of landmines to go over and hit that. That's pretty good.
You know what it does speak to? Like the whole idea of the weekend. I mean, essentially
What?
it comes down to just how good you are with mechanics. And I don't mean how good you are with Rocket League's mechanics. I mean just mechanics in general. Like how quickly can these guys adapt to these changed situations,
Right.
the ball moving at different bounces, how quickly can they learn to read that and that kind of thing. Was it Rizzo who read the most ridiculous shot off the ceiling?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that was just insane how he read that off the. I think it bounced off the wall in the ceiling, and somehow he read it, and you're just like, what? How? But
Yeah.
I think that was Supercube as well that they were playing at the time. But you know, that kind of thing, just it's really, really impressive to watch these guys adapt so fast to those that change in environment.
Yeah, there's so much unpredictability, and for them to be able to adapt and adjust, I mean, it shows you the fortitude of these guys. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to adjust that fast by any stretch of the imagination. Granted, I can adjust to regular Rocket League, but that's beside the point.
One thing when you play, a bunch of different game modes like we did this weekend, I think it was really cool, not only to see the players and their ability to actually, at times, most of the time I should say, remain mechanically sound when, all of this craziness was going on, or, you were over in Octagon or Wasteland or, whatever it would be. I think it was just cool for the community in general that we did something like this, because for the new person that comes in and it's like, here's the championship series, and like, oh, it's only about these maps, and that mindset that got so ingrained into them that, oh, we should only play on standard maps, and that goes into it. And then you get this kind of weekend where you start playing everything else. Mm-hmm. I think I may have tweeted about this. I really hope that brings numbers for Rocket Labs, and I really hope that brings numbers for, everything else, mutators, Rumble, stuff like that. I really hope that does bring bigger numbers for them.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that too, if you don't mind. Real quick, I was hoping that the viewer numbers for Midseason Mayhem were going to be better than they were.
So we have
it's going to be the same expected outcome.
It was less. It was about, I think we hit 10K a couple of times for NA.
Really?
Yep.
I honestly thought it was going to be a lot higher. I think I said last week 30 to 50K.
Yeah, I was wrong too. I was saying, maybe we get 50%.
You know what though? You know what? They just don't advertise.
That's fair.
They just don't. I mean, nobody.
Elaborate on that for me.
So,
what way did they not advertise? I just want to hear what you think.
So, for starters, right? I wasn't even, I'm heavily involved in the community, right? Heavily. I mean, I speak to all kinds of people on a daily basis. Like, there's basically nothing that happens that I'm not aware of, and I'm not. Yeah, that like, you guys know that. Like, just whenever anything's going on, I already know about it. Usually, it's very rare that you'll surprise me with something new. I have 1 week where I'm ill and not paying as much attention to stuff, like not going out of my way to find out stuff. And I had no clue whether the mid-season mayhem was starting at the same time that it normally does for league play. I was going on and being like, oh, is it on? Is it not on? Oh, it's on in an hour and 15, and I guess I'll go make tea. But I just had no clue what was going on. There's next to no communication about it in the game. I'll point out that it still says on the Rocket League main menu, join us this weekend for mid-season mayhem, which just makes it sound like it's happening next weekend as well, which it's not. And their messaging is just awful.
To elaborate on that, I actually really don't like that new system anymore. It really actually drives me up the wall.
It needs to move.
To add to that, it needs to have more than one specific gigantic topic on there. I really wish that it had like several important things. Like, just name 4 of them that are going on in the community right now.
Kind of like you see on the website.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Slideshow would be perfect too.
Go through my tweet history. I'm way ahead of you guys. Carousel, like just the exact same thing that's already there, but it slides across to another thing. And you know what that gives you? That gives you movement. You know what the human brain is triggered by more than anything else visually? Movement.
Right. Yeah. And just to comment on that too, movement. A lot of people are like, well, what if you use the ticker? How many people actually read that ticker in all seriousness?
Not I.
Like, chat, I want to, if you legitimately do, I'm not trying to look for like a sarcastic thing. Like, do you actually look at that when you open up the game and you're looking through there at the bottom? Because right now that's totally, I've probably not even read it in the last 5 months. Exactly. That's exactly.
There's a ticker at the bottom? No, there isn't. You guys are lying to me. I'm totally not starting the game up right now to check.
I just want to let you know I have the game open right now. Join the discussion on Reddit, like us on Facebook, and talk about us on Twitter. That is the only things you see down there, and they are like within gigantic gaps of each other. So it's not even anything specific. Maybe it could be a Twitter collaboration of something. It could be, announcing something in particular. Maybe the Welcome to Aquadome theme. Maybe even Rocket League Championship Series scores could go down there.
Oh my goodness,
Something...
there actually is a ticker.
Kappa. Just
Guys, I'm
today,
actually,
I think he's
I'm
actually
actually
being serious here.
amazed. I am deadly serious, and that tells you everything you need to know about that.
No, that really does.
I'm plagiarizing from Doomsy here. Okay, I'm just going to interrupt you, and I'm going to plagiarize from Doomsy because Doomsy turned around and said that we should have an esports menu within the main menu.
Right.
Please. Why can't we have that?
Right.
Just have it update on a Monday. Problem solved. Like, all you need to do is update it on a Monday. They don't even have to care about community stuff. I mean, it'd be nice if they put community stuff in there, but just have a thing on the main menu that you can idly click on while you're waiting for your next match to start, and then go, oh look, G2 won all of their matches in the mid-season mayhem and didn't drop a game. I guess they're good again now.
Like what's,
all you need.
Example, I don't know how this runs over on anything else other than the United States, but ESPN is an example that I'll use for tickers. I can keep all the news that goes on right in that area right there. So you have RLCS going in, which is Psyonix's partner with Twitch in order to create this. You're telling me that you're using that space on your game to basically put 4 links to say,
hey,
follow,
you know what it is?
Look at the website. Look at this. Look at that. What? I
know what
don't
it is?
care.
They've just
no
forgotten.
one looks at it.
They've just also forgotten that there's a ticker.
Probably.
I'm not kidding, right? I just checked
I'm
on
actually
Steam.
curious on this. I'm going to see if anybody...
I have 1,721 hours on Rocket League on this account.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly never noticed the ticker. Like, I'm sure I saw it before. Like, but if you'd asked me, when you said, oh, there's a ticker, I was like, no, there isn't. That'd be ridiculous. There's no ticker in Rocket League. I would have read that like a million times by now. I probably have. But that's just ridiculous. Oh man, I mean, why?
No, I agree. I think that putting the carousel there.
Yeah, just put a carousel on there, or just change the main menu entirely. Like, the main menu makes no sense with the way that inventory is managed now. Like, they just need to redo the UI on the main menu. Like, I think it's time.
For those of you that don't speak British, he actually said inventory, not inventory. So that's fine. Sorry.
Sorry. Remind me whose language it is.
Moving on, though.
Who's the OG language?
Come back to me when you haven't been invaded 20 times over 5 times the length of your country's history.
We're straying a little too far here. Let's get back into mid-season mayhem. So
actually,
we covered
NA
side of things.
Relevant. I think it's relevant. Like, I think we'd have a little bit more to talk about on this before we get back into what actually happened.
Yeah,
if we wrap up with that, but definitely messaging needs to happen more. It's something that a lot of players have said. It's something that I've said a lot. I mean, when you actually get right down to it, there's more advertising for PRL or Shift than there is for RLCS.
I completely agree with that. Completely and totally agree with that. I would not be against. I want to see with as much as going.
Where's the recap videos for RLCS before the start of the stream?
Yep.
Like, we got one at Shift
last week on League Play. On RLCS.
That's exactly what we do on Shift.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
There's no reason. Like, you'd think that they'd have way more capability to be able to do that.
Well, the other thing too, other than Reddit and a couple of forum places, I don't see any external advertising for Rocket League events happening really anywhere.
So you get it from the RLCS Twitch account. Twitter account. You get it from Rocket League's Twitter account. And I think occasionally you get it from Psyonix Studios if there's also an update or something as well. They kind of like do check this stuff out. Right? It's not on the front page of the Rocket League website. It's at a website called Rocket League Esports, which is actually just really annoying to get to. I just always search RLCS and then click the first link because it's way easier than doing anything else. That website in itself is entirely static. Like, entirely static. In fact, I think the whole website is a picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
The schedule on that website is awful. The schedule for Shift, which Joshua made on shiftbl.com, that is better than the one that you get on the RLCS page, because you know what you can do on the one on ours? You can sort it by which region it is. Yeah, you can actually like filter it to some extent. You can manage that list. Even though it's just like a huge list, you can manage that list. You can't do that with the schedule for League Play matches. they don't talk about it enough at all.
Yeah,
There's 20
I agree.
million people playing the game, and 10,000 of them showed up for what should have been the peak of this 6 weeks or so of RLCS
Right.
stuff.
Well, they hype this up, you know, in the broadcast. They're like, holy crap, this
Well, yeah, they hype it in the broadcast.
mid-season
Like,
madness
that's
is going to be
fine.
insane.
Yeah.
But if you're not there, what does that matter? You know,
Yeah, that's
I
it,
think it's
exactly.
almost kind of a bummer that,
There's
in
like
my opinion,
15,000 people
the-
watching. It's like you're
Right.
out of the potential audience. Like, let's say 1 in 20 people who plays Rocket League would like to watch RLCS,
Mhm.
right? So we should see 1 million people turning up to watch RLCS.
should.
Like, if you're a PlayStation player or an Xbox player and you've just picked up this game because you're like 14 or 15 or something, like
Mm-hmm.
there are people out there that don't even know Twitch exists.
Right.
You know, it's
So
just crazy. It
Um,
makes no sense to me.
there is something I do want to mention just alongside with this, just regards to marketing in a sense. Silent, we kind of talked about this for a potential other show that you and I do.
Oh yeah,
I kind of wanted to actually iterate this number because it just came to me as a thought. Realize that on average we get approximately about 50,000 concurrent players throughout the entire day. Or excuse me, concurrent viewer or players, you know, at any time.
the
throughout
minimum
day.
the minimum
That's-
is 50,000 concurrent
Yes.
players. That's what you're
Thank-
trying to say.
Thank you. The funny thing is that we only get like 8 to 10,000 of those actually watching this RLCS right now, which is supposed to be like the biggest thing that they're supposed to be having right now. So I just feel like there's still not that marketing edge to it.
I want to give you a thought here. The fact that there are still people that are asking the RLCS analysts what an RLCS is.
Well, yeah, but
Is a
at the same
problem for
time,
me.
like, at what point do you stop? At what point is that just a meme, though? Like, I don't know whether that's
No,
actually.
that's fair. Okay, that's a fair question.
I'd probably say that 1 in 4 times that they see that, because let's be honest, like, most of the casters aren't bad at the game, and the
Yeah.
higher you are, the higher ranked you are. Yeah, but the higher ranked you are, the more likely you are to be recognized when you're those guys.
I'd say minimum probably challenger elite level for most of them,
Well,
with the exception of
Wave
uh,
and Axel,
yeah, wave. Okay.
Lawler if he's having a really bad week.
Yeah, but usually Lawler, to be fair, is in the blue.
But even Carpet a lot of the time is hovering around Challenger 3 and Challenger Elite. I think because he tends not to care and he tends to stream for like 15 hours. But
Which is why he casts.
but yeah, I mean, like, we've got, I think it's 60% of the player base is playing on PlayStation. Out of that 60%, probably 40%, probably 40% of that, so, like 60% or 66% of the 60%,
Yep.
like, got the game for free with PlayStation
Mhm.
Plus.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
Like, those guys
I
just
would go
don't
back
know
and pay
that
for
there's a bigger deal going on. Like, if you look at it on Steam and you're like, it's in the top 4 game, it's number 5 right now in the best top selling games like ever, and you go, oh well, that's clearly this is a thing that is good. Whereas when it's something that you get for free on PlayStation, you just don't have that kind of connection of value. And if you also don't pay attention to Reddit or Twitch, which a lot of people don't even know those things exist. Like, I only found out about Twitch like 4 years ago, or not even that, like 3.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm-
more marketing
that's-
more marketing needed. Just in-game marketing. It's not rocket science. It just needs them to actually redesign the UI.
This is only my opinion, but I almost feel like if your main source of like a ton of promotion is through Reddit, I just feel like you're not marketing this correctly. That's
Yeah.
only my opinion.
Or
There's
not
a ton
enough,
of
anyway.
users. There's a ton amount of there's a lot of people on Reddit. Don't get me wrong, but I need an actual credible source. I want a reason that I really do want to go over to the website other than just simply to buy the game. I'd like to have it
Well, you wouldn't
associated
even
with
buy the
something
game
else.
from their website, though. You'd buy the game from Steam or from PlayStation Store
Mhm.
or from Xbox.
Right.
Or even go to a retailer now because they've got the collector's edition
Right.
box.
It's
Oh,
unlikely still.
weird example, but I was looking at this today for some other stuff. Like ESL has this portion to it. It's a weird example, I know, but ESL has like a bunch of subcategories that directs them to another website that they own. Like, for example, you go to ESL's main website, you can go to ESL 1 straight from there. And then you can look at all the different events that are going on at the moment. I'd love to see something like that. Like, I wish I could see, You know, like, oh, this is the main directory page, but then I can just bounce off of whatever else is happening for it.
I don't know whether ESL is like a good touchstone for how to do good marketing. Like,
well,
I'd
no,
say-
no.
I'd
I'm
say-
just saying.
yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
I know what you
website
mean.
organization wide. That's what I'm saying. I like how they designed that concept. I
Yeah.
wish something would apply in the same way.
I'd probably shy away from that, but hey, I'm British and have different opinions. But when we get right
Why
down
would you
to
shy
it,
away from categorizing it?
like, oh, I just think that the way ESL presents information is really annoying. Like.
Oh
back
no,
when
I'm saying I'm
tried
not
to
saying
be-
ESL is
yeah.
a god. I'm just saying that specific thing I really like about it. You know,
Oh,
like
that's
where I can go to
yeah,
the site
but-
and there's like 5 categories of their tournaments that they're currently hosting.
I'm just saying that that's the thing that I like, that I dislike the most. Like, as somebody who was trying to use ESL to play in like lower level tournaments, I found this didn't expose that at all. But it's kind of
Right.
irrelevant to the conversation, because at the end of the day, Psyonix is running one tournament. Like, just promote it. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, so, you know, it's not, you know, there's going to be other people who are involved in actually putting that on, and there's going to be budgets and, you know, how many man hours they can physically dedicate to stuff and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
I want to make
I-
sure that we reiterate something. Psyonix as a developer is freaking legendary. There's no doubt about that. The fact that their marketing's a little suspect or lackluster, I think, you know, that can be fixed. But so we're not bashing Psyonix as a developer. We're just saying they definitely need to improve their marketing scheme.
It's providing
No,
feedback
actually,
is what
no,
I would
do you know
honestly
what?
put it as.
Do you know what? Right now, I actually would say that Psyonix is failing as the developer of the game, because the latest feature that they have added to the game is crates, right?
Yeah.
And crates are there to fund the esports scene. If
Yeah,
they
okay.
point, if they have introduced a feature that is there to support the esports scene, but they're not also telling people about the esports scene, that feature is not doing everything that it can do.
True.
Because if people know that it's supporting the esports scene, which most people don't know, most people just saw crates appear and they're like, oh, there's crates now. Okay, fine. Like, as Mr. Console person that loads up the game for like an hour every other Sunday, when his kids are finally in bed and his wife's finally shut up and is watching some reality TV show, and he like sneaks upstairs to where he's got the PlayStation hidden away and then just, you know, plays an hour of Rocket League, and he's had an update happen, and now there's crates. Like, oh, there's crates now. But if they actually
Right.
expose that crates are supporting the esports ecosystem, then people are like, okay, well, I don't care about the esports ecosystem, so fine. So the next step on that is get people interested in the esports ecosystem. But to do that, people actually have to know it exists.
Yeah, I agree.
So they've got, you know, 19...
There's one big link missing.
There's 19,920,000 users that didn't watch RLCS.
Right.
Silent does math. I like
It's that simple. So you, like, okay, yes, great. Psyonix has made a fantastic game, and I love their game.
Yeah.
I've
Right.
spent, you know, 2,000 hours of my life at this point playing that game, let alone the number of hours that I've spent thinking, creating media around, or actually casting tournaments
right.
of their game.
Mhm.
Not, you know, the amount of time that me and Svernaday have spent hijacking Level Up Weekly to talk about their game. Like,
It's insane.
most
It's
talked
actually
about
really
game
funny to
on
talk
Level Up
about
Weekly.
that.
Yeah.
The amount of times we've used a Rocket League example is insane to me.
Well,
like,
yeah, that's it, because
just
we're
iterate
just
this
so
real
close
quickly.
to it.
This is the first game that I've ever been heavily invested into an esports scene, which actually made me completely change my mind about the esports scene itself and actually heavily invest into it. At this point, before Rocket League even existed, I didn't acknowledge
Well, you were a
esports
sports
as
guy, right?
as a major establishment. But
You're
then I
just
started
sports
doing
fan
things on research, and then it finally came into it. And now I'm like, oh, let's do it. Like, I think this is a legitimate thing, and I want Rocket League to become one of those, you know, AAA caliber, you know, esports scenes. And
Yeah.
again, it's the year and a half that's into it, and I guess they're learning. But I agree with Silent. I think we do need to call them out on certain scenarios, because there is a couple moments, you know, Aquadome's not fully optimized. I'm surprised that no one caught that in testing, to be honest with you.
I
and
think
the
that
fact,
to some extent they just thought that, oh, it's supposed to be like that, and didn't think about the fact that, like, people have
Well, by
visual
the
issues.
same token,
Um,
though, they should have noticed the frame drops at the very least.
Well, yeah, but at the same
you
time,
need to
most of the
remember
peop-
they probably tested these
Yeah.
on some pretty legitimate systems. Like, I'm watching
No, that's
Kronovi
fair.
stream, and
Also-
it's not an issue.
let's not forget, guys, that you can actually run this game on like half of the minimum specs.
Right.
Like, this is just the first map that requires you to actually have the minimum specs.
Right.
Because pretty much
That's
every
fair.
single person that has complained about FPS drops, when I've actually looked at their specs, they are below the minimum specs. And to be fair to Psyonix, you know, the minimum specs have never changed. Like, they've always been that. So you could get away with playing the game on that, and now you can't. And I'm afraid that is just, that's just the nature of progress. But that ball should not be blurring so that I can see a whole ball and a half. Like, that just makes it harder to aim, gives me a headache, and honestly makes me feel like I'm playing drunk. Like, I tried getting drunk and playing, but that didn't help. So what's left, guys? Like, do I have to drink so much coffee that I'm the most sober man alive to be able to just keep that as one ball instead of getting the double vision?
I like this question from DMR over in chat. I actually would like to cover this. Would be great. There's in-game material, in-menu material. There's Twitter, Twitch, featured, and Reddit. What advertising vector would you consider to be the most effective? I think this is actually a really good question.
Well, for starters, I'm just going to dive in on this because I used to do a lot of marketing stuff for Lenovo, and my boss was the person who was head of brand awareness for EMEA, which is the Europe, Middle East, and America region. So, you know, half the world, which is about a fifth of Lenovo's customer base, but never mind. So, like, the thing about brands, and the RLCS is a brand, you have to constantly talk about it, and you have to, like, just follow the known lessons of advertising, which they're not doing at the moment. What the main menu is a wall of text and a button that most people click by mistake, and that button takes you away from the game, which is not something that you want to do. So they need to have a vector that is actually contained within the game to inform people, and they have to make it enticing to people. You know, like, they've shown that they can do it. The crate animation when you open a crate is fantastic because all it does is make you want to open another crate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just need to apply the same thinking that they apply to that to notifying people about esports within their game, and problem solved. Like, I could design a UI and send it to them tomorrow, and I might do that anyway because who knows, maybe it'll appear in the game. But they definitely need to integrate it into the main menu and make it a thing that you can click on while you're waiting to go into a game.
Back to what I was saying before, just like the things that are talking about in the game. My thing, I think, just in specifically what he said was going to be the most effective. You know, I think reiterating a little bit what we said before was obviously the in-games thing on the side. I'm actually got my game open right now, so I have it. The thing that's on the side, I would really love for that to be, you know, a slideshow, you know, or even, you know, just something that you can scroll in game and look at what's going on.
I'd rather they just got rid of that thing at the side and just made a zone in the game for it. You know, the same way that you've got the showroom.
Okay.
Let's just have the showroom, but for esports.
Having a separate feature, I don't know if that'd have as many clicks.
Yeah, no.
I feel like having that front
guys,
page of your game would be what I would go for it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because how much time...
Me personally.
How much time do you spend not in free play in between games? Like, how often are you just idly clicking into your stats or idly clicking at league rankings to see who's ranked up on your friends list?
At least 3 seconds.
That's 3 seconds that you might spend in an esports thing just catching up on who won PRL last night.
For me,
on that is the 3 seconds that I probably go over there versus over to free play. But when I open up the game, it's going to be right there. And trust me, I'm not sure that many people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to pull this other thing. I pull up my stats sheet maybe once every 4 or 5 times per, like, 3 months.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we need to have a vector that's actually within the game that informs you about it that isn't a static wall of text.
Okay.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they can put something else on the main menu, but they need to get rid of the thing that is already there. Like, changing that thing and improving that thing is not going to help. They need to just get rid of that thing and come up with a new idea.
Actually, let's just clarify this. We're not saying that we should have the entire thing as the esports scene as soon as you open up the game. That shouldn't be what it all should be. It should have a big portion to it because that's what they're heavily marketing. But there's, you know, you could talk, like right now, you could have one thing talking about the aquadome update. You can have another one that's talking about the Rocket League Championship Series. And the Rocket League Championship Series might be bigger than the aquadome update. Something like that. Something you can see in general as you go along. And then, of course, the ticker at the bottom, I really badly wish they would do this for the Rocket League Championship Series. Like, this is their bread and butter. This is what they invested $250,000. And the fact
just
that
this season,
they have the amount of production quality that they're pushing it right now to their absolutely insanely expensive studio right now. You can't tell me you can't invest some of that into creating something that the ticker tells you, oh, by the way, last week you saw, like you said before, Silent, you just see G2 never losing a game. It's not even a news announcement. It's just that the series, works for it. Like I open the game and I'm like, oh, G2 actually won this game. Oh, that's crazy.
They could actually like put DMR stats to better use and just have an RSS feed of all the stat notifications. Like
DMR for Psionic Studio stats?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
DMR already does the stats for RSS.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
thing.
incorporate that actually into the game.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, all you need to do is hook that ticker up to an RSS feed and put all of the stat things that are on the loading, the break pages on RLCS. Just put all of those stat tidbits. It brings awareness into the game, and it's a change that you can make in 6 seconds.
Right.
I mean, even if you have to do it manually in an XML file, like you can do that. That's not hard.
It can definitely be done.
I mean, the thing is that they already do the main menu thing as like a live update of some kind, because it doesn't push an update when that thing's at updates. So that's clearly pulling a web feed from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not difficult for them to just make that, even if that was all they were doing, just hook that ticker up to a different thing. But I honestly think that it just needs a rework on the main menu.
I
think the main menu has got too many new features.
I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but I do want to say this. Now we're talking about the in-game stuff. We're talking about the sections of that. You mentioned earlier, Silent, about the PlayStation 4 community. 60% of the players are from. Yeah, I'd say a vast majority of the players in the Rocket League community are PS4 because most of them got it for free. And
really?
Most of
no. Curtis, the number is literally 60%. Like that's the officially released number of percentage. PS4 players.
Well, regardless of the
remaining
point,
40% are split.
If I go
Steam
into
Xbox.
a random like 3v3 solo standard game, and I put into the chat, has anyone heard of RLCS? What do you think the percentage that I'm going to get a yes out of those 5 people are?
Well, for starters, you're only going to be seeing it from Steam.
Yeah, I was just going to say, from starters, what you just said basically says that if you're playing with PS4 players, you're going to be like, I don't even know what you're talking about because I can't see it.
Well, no, I have a PS4. I have a PS4.
Okay.
So let me make that very clear. I'm on my PS4. If I go in there and I put in the quick chat, I say, has anyone ever heard of RLCS? And I have network play off, by the way, cross network play off. So I'm only playing with PS4s. I'd say I'd get a 0 or 1 out of 5, 80% of the time.
Well, at the levels that you play at, that wouldn't actually surprise me.
Well, okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Once you
get
to
you would see it at my level at max, but like that's drawing the line.
It is the point though, because that's the exact point. Because the people at your level, no offense to you, I mean you've got your own, you're freaking blind. You're doing great as it is, buddy. But but when you get right down to it, the lower level you are in the game, the less invested you are in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like people aren't sitting there and putting 200 hours in every 2 weeks and staying at Prospect 3. Like that just doesn't happen. Like with enough time put in, you will get out just on aggregate win percentage.
To counter that example, to add to it, like at my college is a great example. I know one other person that actually, two people that actually know about Rocket League and somewhat of the scene itself. They had no idea that I existed as a Rocket League Central ambassador, which that's totally understandable because no one should know me to start with. But they were like, wait, what's this RLCS thing? Like, wait, what's this? What's that? And they're like, oh, I played 2 hours into the game and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that scene's not amazing. Like, I could go to my friends that watch League of Legends. They're like, hey, did you watch, whatever it was the other day? They'd be like, yeah, totally.
Here's my point on the PS4 thing, is that even at the higher levels, even if it goes up a marginal bit, I don't think you're going to get a lot of yeses out of those 5 people, no matter how many samples you take.
I disagree. I say that if you are only asking people who are Rising Star and above, you'd have a better than 50% response rate.
Right, because they've actually invested more
because they've invested time
Rising
into
Star
the game
average, I think, is like 500 through 700, maybe?
Yeah,
okay.
It's very, very difficult to get to Rising Star on any platform without looking at anything outside of the game.
Okay.
Like you're gonna have seen a YouTube video or something just to learn something.
Jay makes a fantastic point in the chat though. He says those people that are at my level are the audiences we need to tap into to try to snowball with.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if you have an entire section on the main menu, those people will fiddle with it.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And the biggest thing is as taking the PS4 community and the console community as a whole, just on its own. Okay, there is not enough promotion on those particular platforms for the scene to continue growing at that point.
That's pretty much what we've been saying this entire time.
Yeah,
There's no promotion on any platform that we
Yeah.
were talking about whatsoever.
There's no
there needs to be
promotion.
something that's implemented into it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I go into League of Legends, I go into Dota 2, I go into whatever, and they have something about their esports scene heavily. You know, how many, who was it? I guess it was a culmination of people that they finally tweeted at Psyonix enough times that they finally put something in to promote Rocket League Championship Series instead of hyping up their new update. You guys remember that a while ago?
Do you want to know the number one thing that tells me that Psyonix isn't promoting this properly?
Go ahead.
They only just added an RLCS flag this update.
True.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's it. That should have been in there when they announced the first season.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely
It's a
viable.
picture on a texture. Like, that's it.
Right.
It's like that takes 5
and just
seconds.
to reiterate
make.
your perspective so that I can help you out, I'm actually going to go walk over to the community flags right now. We have people like Achievement Hunter, Able Gamers, which, you know, is understandable because we worked through them before. You know, EMD, let's see if I can find a couple other ones. Saudi Gamer,
on there? Like, isn't Strivewire?
Team Power, Team Fats,
Like, Gfinity's
Serious
on
Gaming,
there.
Spooky. What are they doing with the community right now? Like, are they that influential that they continue to have their own flag into it? You know,
Well, I mean, I don't think
I
you
mean-
should take flags out, but my point, and a lot of those will have been like cross promotion, revenue stream things when the game first came out, which is totally fine. We'll put your flag we'll put your company on a flag in our game if you do this for us, and
Right.
perfectly reasonable. But when Gfinity gets a flag before RLCS does,
That's a problem.
like, or you know, Gfinity has had a flag for some time, and RLCS has only just got a flag. Like, that's a problem. That just shows that
Right.
they aren't prioritizing it the way that I think they should be, given all the changes that they've made recently with crates and whatnot.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think it's a bummer, in all honesty. I really think that if they invested their marketing into this could be great.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, you know, Shift and PRL do more promotion than Psyonix does.
Right.
I mean, Gibbs was. I was listening to DFH Locker, like I said, and I was listening to one last week, and Gibbs made a really good point, which is that he found out who was doing well in league play. In the qualifiers, from Karma's Twitter.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
What?
Yeah.
Like, that's how you get your live updates, is from
and that's-
Karma
and that's just-
when the RLCS is on?
Well, and that's just reiterating what I said before. You know, what is the primary source outlet? Like, are we going to their website for something? Not really. Are we going to the esports scene? I go there to check the times, but most of the time they're already there somewhere on Twitter already for me. So there's not a primary source. You're just going through social media at this moment just to get your promotion. Establish something. Redesign your web interface, like Silence said earlier. You know, stuff like that. This is going to help us out. You know, get what you really want to be pushed
What you
farther.
really want.
We had 80,000 people in RLCS, but that doesn't matter because ESL1 just got out of having 6 million. So let's go. Let's push into it.
And I saw in the chat a little while ago as well, DMR, and this is something I've spoken to him with personally about, but cross promotion between other games. Like, you guys know that I go on TV to talk about Rocket League and whatnot.
Yes.
And I really
Yes.
enjoy doing that because it's a mixed game show. So
Right.
last time I followed on a guy who was talking about StarCraft.
Okay.
You know, and that was the guy before that. So people who are watching that show on TV, you know, they've just flicked over to the channel or whatever.
Right.
They see some stuff about Hearthstone. They saw some stuff about Call of Duty. They saw some stuff about not Call of Duty, CS:GO. They saw some stuff about StarCraft. They saw some stuff about Dota, and then they saw me and Shogun talking about Rocket League, and that's really good cross promotion because it's getting Rocket League out there. But that's not something Psyonix has arranged or influenced in any way. That's just
And
the
that's
people
my
on
next,
that show.
That's my
Yeah.
big point.
The
is
people on that
ultimately
show want to talk about Rocket League.
There is a platform for them to take advantage.
There's
to get
so
the
many
game
platforms
out there.
There's
And, well,
nine
that's
billion
just one.
platforms.
That's just one. But that one is on an actual cable channel. That one is getting. That one is getting.
Well, it's
to
satellite,
people.
but you know.
You know what? You see what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is, it's on mainstream media.
Yeah.
We need the Psyonix. If they haven't talked to Jinx yet, they should.
Well, I mean, Jinx, I wouldn't say is that big a player. For them
Well,
to really...
whoever Jinx,
Like, I'd be
Machinima
surprised
has
if
a channel in the
yeah.
States.
But the thing is that there's lots of places they can take it, and
Right.
Like that's something that needs to be thought about.
Its main,
you
go
know,
ahead.
well, the thing is the RLCS is in partnership with Twitch, right?
Right.
So to some
you
extent,
don't want to just
Twitch
step on
is going to
toes.
Twitch is going to want people going to their platform,
Right.
And
which
that
is
makes
perfectly
sense.
fine. Like,
That makes
but
sense.
then at the same time, Twitch knows that people will go to that platform for the extra things that their platform offers.
Right.
If people find out about it from somewhere else.
Well, it's not like as if Twitch
there's
isn't
no
even
bad
working with
thing.
those other companies as well. I mean,
Well,
for example,
ESPN2
TBS
has
is big.
done loads of stuff.
You know, when TBS hosted the CS:GO tournaments, I mean, is it like as if Twitch didn't exist in that? No, they had a lot of production value that went to TBS Sports because of a partnership. So that's how that plays. Like, get your Twitch numbers up first before we're gonna start talking about a TV company, because they're gonna be like, oh, cool, you got 80,000 viewers. Yeah, I got a CS:GO tournament right now that's hosting for like 2 million. Like, I don't care about you. Build up the Twitch community before we start talking about TV shows. Like,
And that's fair.
Well, I mean, I don't know whether that's necessarily true. I think that's
Okay.
I think that's a logical fallacy, because
Okay.
the TV audience is totally different to the Twitch audience.
right.
So it makes no sense to compare the two in that
Mm-hmm.
way. Like how successful something's going to be on TV compared to how successful it is on Twitch is entirely different. Like the really good example for that is Heroes of the Dorm, the first iteration of that. The finals was on ESPN2. And ESPN2 had more views on that final than they had for anything else that
Right.
week. So
Right.
arguably, like ESPN2 got views that they otherwise wouldn't have had because it wasn't shown on Twitch, it was shown on ESPN2. So the leakage can happen in either direction. I don't think there's a problem with that. And certainly licensing and getting these things onto these platforms is difficult. And I'm not saying it's easy in any sense of the imagination. However, there are lots of ways that you can get it out there for free, and they're just not taking advantage of the tools that they have in their back pocket.
Just a comment on this. Jay actually mentions this in chat, which I agree with, where we're talking about an esports side of things. The only time that I see highlight plays, by the way, is on Twitter when they mentioned that it was on their website that, oh, look at these top 10 plays that happened in esports recently. And I see Rocket League in there maybe once every 4, 5, 6 times potentially. So that's another thing too. Like I want more investment into that so that we're like, oh, this is actually happening, because you know, and we know people over at ESPN that are currently writing for us at this moment, and they're like, oh, we can get these highlights, and then all of a sudden the supervisor's like, no, I don't want these anymore. Like, why wouldn't you?
But, I mean, at the same time though, Rocket League, like we've just been discussing this whole time, has a like if you look at player percentage that watches the esport, it's really, really low
Extremely low
compared to other games.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
you know, there's like 50 million registered Hearthstone users or something like that. Like, there's a different Hearthstone tournament on every single day.
Right.
And they get more views. They probably get similar percentage views to Rocket League, but they're available on mobile and tablet, and that's what half the player base uses. And you don't
Yeah,
expect
that's
mobile
fair.
and tablet users to be going and watching tournaments on Twitch. Like, that's just not something you expect. So
Right.
I think that it's definitely something they need to do more work on. So very quickly, should we talk about who won the EU mid-season mayhem?
Yeah, I think we definitely should pay a little bit of attention to that because we got off way on a tangent, but I think it was.
Well, we got
definitely-
8 minutes, so let's talk about EU
Ultimately,
mid-season mayhem.
well, Maka Aces went through and basically took the whole thing with I think they dropped. What was it? I'm trying to. I think
I'll put the joke.
2 games.
I'll put the joke like they said on Rocket League or on RLCS. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The analysts basically put it like this. So G2 won 3-0 and 4-0 on everything, and then Market Aces won 3-1 on everything.
Mhm.
So they didn't drop much. They also played on a hot streak for it too. Again, I'm really hoping this results in a good momentum shift for these teams. I shouldn't say shift because Aces was already doing pretty well to start with, but I really hope that this helps them out though for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Maka Aces, they've been a buzzsaw. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They're right up there with one of the tops in EU.
Right.
And there was some definite humor afterwards with the with Twitter and that I won't go too far into at this moment. But go check out the RLCS Twitter if you guys haven't already. With that said,
Well, let's wrap it back around real quick, because I've just seen Safernade typing silly things in our chat. Twitch gets their own TV channel. Why would they bother? Like, Twitch
Why would they
getting
not
their own,
bother?
well, Twitch getting their own TV channel is like HBO getting a channel and being excited about getting a channel on Warner. Twitch Twitch is already a network, dude.
Granted.
It's an open source television network all of on its own. And when you think about who owns Twitch, which is Amazon, FYI, Amazon manufacture TV like, Fire TV and stuff like that, where Twitch is just a fully functional app.
Okay.
And it's just another set of channels you can look at. Like they're already fine with what they have. They want to see leakage of esports into, like, I will say that Twitch, like, as an esports propagator, would like to see more esports coverage in other places because that's going to draw people back to their platform. But they don't need their own TV channel. Like, why would they bother?
Right,
it's just
but
a lot of investment for no reason.
Maybe later.
Right.
I don't see it right now, but maybe later.
It's cheaper for them to license stuff
to be fair,
the existing sports channels and get their viewership than build up a viewership from scratch.
Well, to be fair, in the generation that we have coming up, of course, the span of TVs isn't necessarily the biggest thing in the world for people anymore. So I can see.
I
where
don't
you're
have a
TV.
Yeah, I'm like the ideal target market for Twitch, and I don't own a TV. Like,
Curtis has 3, but there is monitors, and yet he still has to read everything in 98 font.
That's true.
Oh, feels blind, man.
Let's do a quick recap then. So, for those who missed the start of the show, we announced today Rocket League XL is happening. You can !RLXL in the chat to find out more. Follow the Twitter. That's where you're going to get all the updates from it. We're going to try and... so this is a team up from all the community organizations, just about. So pretty much everybody who wants to be involved is involved in putting on this event. It's across 3 regions. It's going to be a 12-hour non-stop tournament stream where you're going to see pro players meet community personalities supported by all the communities or community organizations.
Not to mention, there is actually, that's something I did not mention. We are going to be getting, there's promotional help coming from Psyonix on this, believe it or not. There is NZXT help as far as merchandise. We're trying to get that sort of squared away as well. And there's going to be merchandise sold for the for the cause. So all 100% of proceeds are going to the Extra Life campaign.
We can't
stress
this enough. Like this is the community thing.
Let's just tell people to follow the Twitter, and that's where they can find out more as more stuff becomes definite. Before
any updates
we run away with things that aren't confirmed, and then it all falls through, and then we look like we've been telling porky pies all this time. I don't know why I said it like that. We lied to you. We're a media outlet, and we lied to you.
What? But no,
let's wrap it. I'm calling it. We're done. This podcast is done. Like, we got no more to talk about. Like, it's good. It's a good thing. It's good for people. It's big. It's outrageous. It's for the kids. And Saferna Day, where can the folks find you?
Of course, as you see right below me. I would say beneath those. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Beneath the Saferna Day, you shall find a Twitter handle, and upon that it shall say Saferna Day _RL.
You will find my Twitter right below me, and then you'll see my Twitch, which is that name right there, which is Saferna Day. Twitch.tv says Saferna Day.
Hardest Rocket League name NA.
Exactly. So you can find me there. I know, Curtis, it's hard for you to find me because you can't see me, but it's okay. You'll find it in those areas there.
It's alright. He just waits for people to call Marco and then says Polo and then finds him by echolocation. So I'm Silent Echo at Silent Echo UK on Twitter, and you can actually catch me and Saferna Day doing Level Up Weekly with the Twitterless Dylan tomorrow at 1 a.m. my time, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Just a minor plug. We all be having a discussion with Lawler on similar topics on the esports scene. So we'll be actually talking about that. We may bump into this topic possibly into it tomorrow, but we have a couple other things.
We'll go into more depth for sure.
Right. Yeah. There's gonna be some pretty sick stuff coming up though. Be hyped about it. But
where can people find the widest guy in Rocket League?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of hard not to find me. I glow. Twitch stuff as far as I've got my own Twitch channel, and as well as I do shift weekly, as well as broadcasts for usually at least one a week for Gfinity on Rocket League Central and other Rocket League Central events. So that's where you guys can find me. With that, don't forget, guys, give us a follow on Rocket Powered Report. Don't forget to follow the Twitter at Rocket Powered Rep, so that you can get scheduling updates and things of that nature. And don't forget, if you guys want, we do have our Patreon that's in chat. definitely, if you feel like contributing or can contribute, definitely do it, because it increases our production value because we can put money into it. So that part's nice. So
also, you'll get a casted replay if you hit the $5 mark. So just FYI, if you wanted me, Curtis, and Safernade to do a 3-man booth on your replay, get yourselves over to Patreon.
Yeah.
But there we go.
You want to
Calling
learn
it.
how to get good, you got to make sure to do that.
All right.
Well,
so
okay,
it's
they
been
can't come
wonderful.
to me to get good. Let's be fair.
Thanks everyone for
I mean,
watching.
I'm a coach, so
We're,
Yes.
we're going to call it. We're going to host VVV now. So see you all later.
Yep.